A very good morning. Thanks for clicking on to the Sunday edition of Rogan's European Outlook. It is the 2nd of January, and I hope everybody had a very pleasant day yesterday. Very warm, of course. We had the warmest UK New Year's Day on record with a temperature in London of 16.3 Celsius. Even across Scotland, the West Highland location of Achnagarth recorded a temperature of 15.9 Celsius, so pretty much 16 Celsius, and that was a crazy temperature for January, of course, even in Scotland. Also noteworthy was the very, very strong winds that we had over the course of yesterday. Of course, we were transporting our air some 1,800 miles from the south, from the Canaries, which allowed that kind of temperature to be achieved. But we had a very deep area of low pressure at 961 millibars, not that far off the Western Isles over the course of yesterday. So very, very windy conditions, 70 plus mile per hour through the Outer Hebrides and the northwest mainland, of course. And we had, of course, a jet stream that was basically oriented from the Canaries up to the north of Scotland. So I don't even know if there was maybe a little bit of time shaved off some of those TUI or Jet 2 flights from Tenerife, Gran Canaria, Lanzarote up into the British Isles over the course of the last 24 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't shave time off those flights. I would imagine they saved perhaps a little bit of fuel based on that orientation of jet stream winds. And of course, those winds were stacked pretty much from about 40,000 feet all the way down to the surface. So it was the perfect recipe for a record warm day yesterday. Not just confined to the British Isles, but we've seen records falling out in the island of Madeira, Portugal, parts of Spain, France, Low Countries, into Germany, and other parts of Europe, including the southern fringes of Scandinavia. We had exceptional warmth over the course of yesterday. So, what is going to happen over the next few days? Well, an area of low pressure low pressure itself is going to be very much the dominant player as we go forward here. But as we skip through the sequence here, we've got that area of low pressure that brought, of course, the windy conditions as well as helped transport that warmth north. That system is now well up into the Norwegian Sea, and we've got another system that's to the west of the British Isles here. But quite a messy picture, really, overall. But if you notice here that as we go through the next 24-hour period, I don't know whether it's the same area of low pressure or not, but we've got that area of low pressure that's to the almost due north of the British Isles. That system is going to reintroduce Arctic air back into the UK pattern once again. Now we've got keeping our eyes closely on this little feature here to the west. It is filling, but it is going to still be a feature here that is going to bring increased wind and rain to parts of Ireland in particular. We've also got a system here at the base of the trough that is over the northwest corner of France, and there is a lot of moisture associated with that, also increase in wind as well. So that system here, albeit not particularly deep, but it is going to be a wind and rain maker across particularly the north of France, I think, but may clip the southern fringes of England over the course of tonight and tomorrow, or should I say tomorrow night and then the Tuesday. As that system kind of pushes east, we're going to see our frontal system coming down from the north, and the temperature is going to come down with it. We're also going to increase the chance of snow showers, primarily over high ground, but maybe as that cold air starts to filter down through the levels of the atmosphere, we may see some winteriness, even the low levels here, as we go through the course of Tuesday. And of course, that northerly wind is coming all the way from the Arctic region here. Then we're keeping our eyes on a system that is exiting North America. Speaking of North America, we've got some very, very cold temperatures at this moment in time over the North American continent. You can see here that we're talking about temperatures actually not that far off -40, all the way into the northern portions of Minnesota. We've got -25 in Minneapolis, and we've got temperatures as cold as -13 in Amarillo, for example. So we've got quite the dynamic contrast here between -20s in places such as Iowa, whereas we've got temperatures into the teens and even the 20s across the southeastern portion of the country here. So we've got a massive contrast across the North American continent at the moment. And the reason why I'm bringing that up at this moment in time is, of course, that massive contrast in temperature is responsible for ramping up the jet stream, and the jet stream is going to become a very, very dominant player, I believe, as we go through a large chunk of January here. So, of course, the Westerlies, as I've been highlighting for some time now, is going to be a dominant player in our weather. And what that will do is it's going to bring that kind of roller coaster in temperature. We're going to see surges of milder. We're also going to see colder air coming in from the north. But that area of low pressure is going to kind of cross the North Atlantic here, attached to the jet stream. It deepens significantly, as you notice here. So the model has been keeping a hold of this solution of rapidly deepening this area of low pressure, and it tracking up towards Iceland, bringing all sorts of nasty conditions. Probably hurricane force winds, heavy snowfall, bitterly cold temperatures as well. There's a lot of cold air associated with this area of low pressure, and as it moves north, what it does is it's picking up cold air from Greenland, and it's going to draw that into the circulation of low pressure, and its associated frontal system is then going across the British Isles. It's going to progress across the UK during the second half of this upcoming week here. Now you notice here the position of the area of low pressure is just off the west coast of Iceland, 930 millibars. It's a beast of a system. It's going to notice the cold air entrained on the backside of that low, and it's going to be very interesting to see. Now the computer models are printing out some reasonably significant snowfall, especially across higher parts of the British Isles. But what I'm going to be keeping an eye on as we press through the upcoming week is how much cold air becomes entrained within that system, and how much cold air comes in on the backside of the frontal system. So it's something worth keeping an eye on, and it could be a reasonably significant snowmaker here. So once that cold front pushes through, we're into that cold polar maritime air, and we'll just keep our eyes on that system here. As we press through towards the latter part of the week and into the weekend, we start to see milder air coming back into play once again, and the next system comes and approaches the British Isles here. That system at this moment in time doesn't look quite as cold as the lead system that we're going to see during the middle and second half of the week here. So like I say, we'll keep our eyes closely on that as we go forward here. Let's have a quick look at the snow prospects here. So this is the ECMWF solution at this moment in time, but I want to look at the snow potential here, because it is quite interesting what is printing out here, and at the moment I would be inclined to use some caution that perhaps the models may be slightly overdoing the snow. It may not be, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on that. So here, as we press through the next several days, of course, we've got that cold northerly flow. We've got snow potential, especially over high ground, and then it's the system, of course, that weakens and moves into Ireland. It's actually printing out some snowfall across the western portion of Ireland, as you can see here, and even across parts of North Wales, the North Pennines. And then as we press through the course of later Wednesday into Thursday, That main frontal system associated with that beast up across Iceland then moves eastwards across the UK, and the model is printing out some fairly significant snow, as you can see here, especially across Scotland, but down even into southern Scotland, the north of England, even into the Midlands, parts of Wales as well, could see, according to the ECMWF, significant snowfall with this system here. Like I say, the models could be overplaying the amount of snow that's coming, but it's all going to be about how much cold air is associated with this area of low pressure in terms of uh, the overall idea as well. So it's going to be worth keeping a close eye on that here. Jet stream is going to be active, as I say here. We've got very cold air, of course, across North America, and we're going to see that cold air start to progress eastwards. So we're going to shift the thermal imbalance over North America eastwards here. So we're going to get that cold air into parts of the eastern half of the United States that we've kind of not seen in a wee while here. But if we look at the 850 millibar temperature profile here, it's quite interesting to see what takes place, because we're looking at the overall picture, of course, and the driving mechanisms behind the pattern at the moment here. So I want to look at the northern hemisphere view, because we've got, of course, the core bitterly cold air, one piece over North America, one piece over Siberia. But as we press through this loop here, now this is of course looking down on the northern hemisphere over the Arctic region, and we'll notice here we've got this little tongue of warmer air getting pushed into the Arctic region here, almost between North America and Asia here. And what that may start to do is it may start to kind of almost create a bit of a cross-polar flow. So in terms of that, it's basically like a transport in the upper levels of the atmosphere of very, very super cold air over Asia and then crossing over top of the pole. And I think this warmth that's lifting up into the Arctic region may start to drag some of that very, very cold air over Siberia across the top of the pole and into North America here. So I think what may start to happen is we start to reload and kind of load up the North America cold. As that digs south, it is therefore going to continue to drive that imbalance in temperature between warm and cold over eastern North America. And in essence, that may continue to power up the North Atlantic jet stream here. Again, like I emphasized in the video a couple of days ago, not a particularly great scenario, because of course you energize the North Atlantic jet stream, you continue to keep the westerlies going, and you also keep less cold air feeding into the European pattern. So it looks as if at the moment here, the core of the coldest air, Asia, North America, and we're seeing that kind of cross-polar connection here, possibly into North America here, which would continue to keep the current setup going as we press through the month of January here. So we'll keep our eyes closely on that over the next wee while here. So the jet stream, like I say, is going to continue to remain active. You can see here as I press through the loop, this is off GFS, by the way. You can see the jet here up into the Arctic region here, and that there would definitely be kind of drawn. See, notice the arrows here pointing towards the Alaska side, so where it looks as if it is transporting some cold air from Asia into North America. And of course, as you fill North America with cold air, and of course you've got the southeastern ridge always fighting, trying to push warmth in, you increase the balance or imbalance, and of course you continue to keep the jet stream very much alive here. Arctic oscillation, North Atlantic oscillation is going into a positive state, and we'll just have to keep our eyes closely fixed on that. So that's it for today. Lots going on a personal level, so the videos may come and go somewhat over the next couple of days. I will try and get a video done tomorrow, but like I say, I'll I'll just have to monitor things day by day. Hope